Welcome to the Education Corner, a podcast by Education Choices magazine.
Education Corner podcast would like to welcome Mr. Shaun Fenton, Headmaster of Reigate Grammar School in Surrey. Reigate Grammar School is a co-educational school for pupils aged 11 to 18 that prides itself on helping children reach their full potential. Each child has their unique blends of talents, skills, aspirations, and abilities. Appreciating and developing these qualities on the journey from childhood to young adulthood is a privilege and a responsibility that the school takes seriously. Reigate Grammar enables academic outcomes that open doors of opportunity and extracurricular experiences that create pathways to success. Shaun has been headmaster at Reigate Grammar School since 2012, as well as holding roles like the likes of the Headmasters' Conference and Chartered College of Teaching. It's such a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Firstly, could you tell us about your background and how you came to your role at Reigate Grammar School?
Yeah, well, the most important thing about me and my background is that I'm a dad, and I get it. I understand what we're thinking each day, that hope, that silent prayer we have as our children head off to school. We just hope that the teachers will get them, will look after them, will be kind, that the teachers will be kind, that their friends will be nice and be there for them. Yes, we want them to love learning about themselves and about the world. Of course we do, but we also want lunchtime to go well and for them to have somebody to sit with at break and for them to come home looking forward to going back the next day. So when we ask, how did your day go? We ask about those sort of things first. And then about what did you learn in maths and what did you learn about the causes of the First World War or whatever. But it is, I get it. I get that thing that we as parents hope for our children. And then my professional journey, I worked as a chartered accountant for a little while before entering education and worked in the state sector and the independent sector. I've been head of 3 schools. I've got responsibility for some schools internationally as well as in the UK. But the thing that motivates me every day, the thing that makes me who I am, it's the privilege that it is to work with the children in our care. The highlight of my week is Saturday morning watching the sport or being there in the audience for the first night or encouraging the student leaders as they're about to make the speech at their first assembly or do their first debate in debating or Model United Nations. I guess it boils down to feeling like I'm a bit of a solar panel, and the children, that they're the sun, that they provide me with the energy, the enthusiasm, the can-do environment that means that I just love being a headmaster. It's the best job in the world.
And the school's ethos is happy kids, great results. And I couldn't agree more. If a child's happy, then they're going to do well. Could you tell us more about this ethos and why it's important to you?
Yeah, well, I think we all want our children to be happy and successful in that order, happy first and successful. We want our children to do well, but also to be well, to be happy. And children who know that they're loved and valued and looked after, I think they will do more, they will achieve more, and they will be more. And that's what we want, is for our child to be the best version of themselves. And when they're happy amongst friends, looked after by adults, aware that older children are on their side, when their day is full of opportunities to try new things, to love learning about themselves and their world, but also to be involved in the super co-curricular program, then you can light the touch paper of success and see the Catherine wheel of their life all spinning with excitement all around the school. And so what does that mean? That happy kids, great results? It means that just before Christmas we turn the playground into an ice rink, and the children get to have hot chocolate and donuts and go skating before Christmas. And just before the summer term ends, we turn the sports field into an open air cinema so that children can come together and celebrate community. And most importantly, on the day before study leave starts, we don't gather all the exam students into the hall for one last assembly on how to revise or how to use their time effectively in exam. We've done all of that. We prepared them perfectly to achieve great things. The last day before study leave, we turn the school field into a fairground, and we bring in dodgems and a Ferris wheel and candy floss and ice creams and their fancy dress. And every child from the first year through to the sixth form gathers together for a day of community celebration, so that when they head off to do brilliantly, to get exam results that will open doors of opportunity, and that is important, when they head off to achieve great things, they do it with lifetime memories and lifelong friendships. They remember their school days as the best days of their life.
That's so wonderful. At Reigate Grammar School, you offer, as you've already mentioned, like the fun things that you do, but lots of co-curricular clubs, activities and experiences for your students, which includes over 200 weekly clubs. Amongst the benefits of this programme, the school website emphasises that the activities are inclusive, student-led and character building. How does this co-curricular programme benefit your students and equip them with these vital skills?
Yeah, it is amazing how many activities the staff and the students put on for themselves, for the children, for the older students running clubs, for younger students to develop their leadership skills. And every teacher who works here at Reigate Grammar School sees giving those super curricular opportunities beyond the classroom as being just as important as enabling high achievement in the classroom and in the exam rooms. And the co-curricular programme is crucial. Well, as I'm talking to you now, it's show week. It's my favourite week of the year at school, as the children have been working hard, rehearsing for months, preparing to go on the stage. The younger students learning from the older students about stagecraft, but also about working together as a team with a greater purpose. And in about 2 hours' time, in the wings at the side of the stage in the school theatre, standing in the dark, there'll be a 12-year-old, 13-year-old little boy and little girl. We're standing in the dark, wondering whether they can step out into the spotlight for the first time on the first night of show week. And just behind them, there'll be a sixth former who will just silently sometimes, but in an intentional way, let that 12-year-old know, yes, you can do it. And they'll step out from the dark into the light, and they'll remember for the rest of their lives, yes, I can. And that's what the co-curricular programme is about. It's about having fun and making friends and all that, but it's about forming qualities of character that will be taken with them into adult life. And that's where they'll be happy and successful, partly because of the qualifications that we enable them to get and the access to world-class universities, but mostly because they're ready. They've got the qualities of character that means they're ready to make the world a better place.
And you have recently launched a flagship partnership with Chelsea FC to deliver world-class football coaching, leadership development, and a unique access to Chelsea's facilities for your students. Could you tell us more about this exciting new partnership and how you feel it's going to benefit the school and the students?
Yeah, well, I think it's really important that we keep elevating the students' experience, that they get to understand what excellence looks like, what excellence feels like, what their route to excellence will be. And they'll all write their own story, their own adventure story, where they're holding the pen and they're the hero. And sport isn't the way that every child is going to have their best experience. But if you're going to play football, why not be coached by Premier League coaches? And why not be able to just look over the fence into what it is to run a global branded sporting business? Because even if you're not going to be on the pitch, there's a whole lot of commercial opportunities that you can learn about running such an impressive business. But it's not just football. If you came to Reigate Grammar School last term, you'd see the boys and girls running out onto the Saracens StoneX Premier League rugby stadium under the floodlights, where the England captain plays home matches every fortnight for his club team. And there you could see them just walking 2 inches taller as they played at one of the best rugby stadiums in the country, or singing in the choir at St Paul's Cathedral that the students did last year. Just they could see them breathing in that world-class ambience and thinking, yeah, this is me. Or 2 weeks ago when the students played jazz at Ronnie Scott's in Soho in London, and just walking onto the stage at Ronnie Scott's and thinking, yeah, this is the sort of excellence that I can achieve and aspire to. And we've got Jason Roy, who's an England cricket as our cricket consultant and executive coach, helping the students to be able to play cricket at that level. Our hockey team, our coaches, we've got an international team captain as our head of hockey, and 3 other current internationals on the coaching team. All of that, all those excellent facilities, those excellent coaches, like the Chelsea partnership, that flagship partnership we just launched, they're about one thing, which is elevating the students' experience, enabling their best aspirations so they can understand what it is to be happy but successful. Happy is important, but success is important too. And if you can't see it, you can't be it. And if you're being coached by Premier League coaches, then you can certainly see what excellence looks like.
And you also have formed part of your 20 million investment in sport at Reigate Grammar to build on the school's ethos of sport for all and developing great people through sport. Could you share more about the importance of sport at Reigate Grammar School and your plans to continue to build on this excellent sports offering through this huge, frankly, investment?
No, absolutely right. Well, I think, forming good people through sport, and that's at the heart of our whole co-curricular, our whole ethos is helping it to be a developmental experience. We don't make sport compulsory. It's not a Saturday sport. It's not something that everyone has to do. I don't subscribe to the view that it's character building to be jumped on by the big boys in the mud or whatever. I think it's about finding your fit. And so there was a boy I was talking to, actually at university now, who told just a few weeks ago, who said that when he arrived at Reigate Grammar School, he hated sport. He'd had a really bad experience at prep school, and it wasn't his thing. He didn't like rugby and hockey, just people hit him in the shins, and that wasn't his thing. So at Reigate Grammar School, he left saying, I'm a sportsman, and he did kayaking, archery, and sailing, 3 Olympic sports. So, you might play rugby sevens and go to national tournaments and win hockey competitions and play cricket. Cricket at the Oval is one of our fixtures this summer. Of course, you might play the traditional sports, but you might also find your own specialist area of sport so that you can be formed as a good person through sport and take the lessons learned on the pitch into the boardroom, the community, the family, the workplace. We want to be known as good sports, not just good at sport. We want to win, but not at all costs. We want to know not just for what we achieve, but for how we achieve those great things. And sport can play a crucial part in that. So we're building a huge sports and activity centre here at school with indoor cricket, indoor hockey, and dance studios and climbing walls and indoor netball and indoor tennis. And it's going to be absolutely fabulous. In fact, the sponsor, one of our alumni, Andy Paul, who's helping us to build it, his company Corsair is helping the sponsorship. So in our sports and activity centre, we've got an esports hub, and we've got a Formula One simulation room that's going to have a whole range of Formula One simulator cars that students can drive around any Formula One track in the world on. So it's more than just the traditional sports. It's about modern sports too. And that sporting programme is crucial. But what the really exciting thing about that major investment in the sport and activity centre is it frees up our old sports hall to turn it into a West End style, high quality theatre and performing arts space as we upgrade our facilities in the arts at the same time, or straight after we upgrade our facilities in sport. It's about finding the right. Sport's not everybody's first choice, and that's fine. We want everyone to be inspired by the sporting opportunities, but not forced into somebody else's pigeonhole of what a student should be. It might be it's in the arts, it might be in public speaking, debating, it might be in charity leadership or community engagement or volunteering. It could be a whole range of journalism or practical science. There's a whole range of ways that students can develop their qualities of character, but forming good people through sport is certainly one of them.
Well-being is a crucial part of school life, and resilience and fulfillment are also very key in your approach at Reigate Grammar School. Your website states, we actively encourage students to step outside their comfort zone, learning what happens when they have to fall back on their own resources. And life skills obviously being something that concerns many parents. You go on to say sometimes they will get things right, sometimes they will get things wrong. but always within our safe and secure environment, with experienced staff on hand to offer support and guidance. Could you share more about this, the importance of developing resilience and confidence throughout the teenage years, and how Reigate Grammar School are supporting this through their wellbeing programme?
Yeah, you say it's a vital part of what a school can help a child experience. I'd say it's the most important thing that a school can offer. And I go back to where I explained my motivation and my own story as a dad. I promise you, other parents, I promise you that we will love and look after your child. I'll be here for them. We'll be here for them to help them on their journey through school. And when they join us with their Reigation smile getting bigger and more secure, and when they join us in their Reigate Grammar School blazer, which you may have bought for them one size too big, because that seems to be the only size that parents buy these days. So they arrive here looking smart and ready to go in their big, confident smile. I'll never forget that behind that confident smile, they're still your little boy, your little girl, and they need our love, our care, our attention, our support every day, every step of the way. That is the Reigate way. And then they delight and surprise us, and they try new things, and they become the best version of themselves. So there's a few things we do. So, for instance, what's different here about Reigate Grammar School to some schools is the head of year, who would meet you and your child before they joined, would meet you in year 6, would visit them in their primary school, would talk to them and to you as parents about their hopes, their worries, their aspirations, their interests. That head of year stays with them right the way through their school career. Every school says that pastoral relationships are important, but so why do they break the most important one on every 12 months? Here, that head of year will get to know the children at 10 years old, and students who headed off to university last year, their head of year, when they were 18, had known them for 8 years, can tell from 100 yards whether they're having a good day or not by their body language and by who they're sitting with at break time, understands and has got to build trust in the shallow waters of a lost water bottle or a sock that's gone missing, so that when the waters get a bit deeper or choppier and the child needs to know there's someone they can rely on, they've known that head of year for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And actually, crucially, as a parent, you're an unusual parent if you haven't sometimes just hesitated with the thought, shall I contact school about that? Will they sort of pigeonhole me? Will they think I'm a sort of parent who always can't? Will they think I'm a moaner? Or what should I? If you haven't had that little bit of hesitancy, then you're an unusual parent, because most of us do a bit of that self-regulation to wonder how what we say to the school will be heard. But imagine if you'd known that head of year for 2, 3, 4 years, and you're on first name text message terms, and you know that they understand that you've got a balance about proportion and what should be done. So then when you contact the school, they absolutely will trust you, and you'll trust the school to get the right response. You'll have built up understanding, and you'll have helped them know that your child is sometimes a bit more sensitive than they appear, and that when they say they're okay, maybe they're not always totally okay, and there's more to it. That head of year, that school mum or dad, sometimes knows the child even better than the parents at home do. That is worth its weight in gold. As a dad, I want that for my children to be known and understood, not just measured and ranked. So that's different about Reigate Grammar School. There's so many more things that I could say that are different. We don't make Saturday sport compulsory. You write your own story. That pastoral care goes through everything. When you join, you get a buddy in the year above who's like a best mate. You get a mentor in the 6th form who's like a big brother or big sister, carefully chosen because they've got the same interests as your child. Those relationship building structures go all the way through the school. It's the Reigate way.
And you also have the Reigate Grammar School digital programme, which is described as supporting students with thoughtful, age-appropriate use of digital tools that help them stay organised, collaborate, think independently and thrive in today's connected world. Can you tell us more about this programme and your approach to digital technology at Reigate Grammar School?
Okay, well, I'll ask the question that you're really asking, which is mobile phones, they're banned. Okay, so you're not allowed to use mobile phones. We're a relationship's not a rules-based school, so we don't lock them in cages or stick them in metal boxes or whatever. You're just not allowed to use them. Like you're not allowed to use your tennis racket unless you're playing tennis, but we don't lock them up in boxes. We just have students who take responsibility for their behaviour. And so students don't use mobile phones in school. They're not allowed, they're banned. But they do need to be, although they need to be relationship focused and develop all the traditional human instincts and skills of collaboration and empathy and friendship, they do need to be technologically fluent because that's the world they're going to inherit. So we do use new technologies. All children do get their own laptop here at Reigate Grammar School, and it's used not in every lesson, not all of the time, but we are trying to embrace the good things about AI and the good things about ed tech, whilst doing a lot of teaching about the risks and responsible use and safe and pragmatic use of new technologies. So we're trying to find the right balance where we protect the children, that's the priority, but we enable the children to use new technologies as a powerful tool for their learning, for their communication and management of their life, and to prepare them for adult life, where it will be an important tool. And so we use that digital program a lot. Many students here will do their GCSEs using the keyboard as their word processor. That's fine. For those for whom it works, they do that, and some choose to and some don't. It's their choice. And we do those GCSEs over 3 years. We start our GCSEs a year earlier than other schools, and the digital program helps with that. So the children here move on to the more interesting work a year earlier, at the start of year 9, not at the start of year 10. And they get 3 years to do what other schools do in 2. So it's just easier, a bit kinder, a bit less pressure, because they've got 3 years to do what other schools do in 2. They don't have to give up football club or choir or being in the journalist society. They've got 3 years to do what other schools do in 2. So they can go deeper and broader. If somebody turns up and says, what's NATO? What's a budget? No one's going to say, we haven't got time for that. We're on Henry VIII's third wife. We haven't got time to talk about anything else. We've got to get through the exam syllabus. These children are not cannon fodder for the exam board. We want them to become historians, geographers, chemists. So if a child comes in with a question, the teacher can feed that hunger for learning, not worry about having time. Goodness me, no time for proper learning because we've got to get through the exam syllabus. What a poor state of affairs. Because we've got 3 years to do what other schools do in 2. Go deeper, broader, feed the children's interests, be less pressure, help them get better results. And they don't need to drop subjects. So here, I don't know, if your school experience is like mine, when you chose GCSEs, if you didn't choose art or didn't choose history, whatever, then you never had another art or history lesson again for the rest of your life. It's got no grade, so it can't have any value. What an awful way to construct an educational program. So here you do have your GCSE program, of course, because you do need those results to open doors of opportunity. But then we have afternoons each week. We call them elective afternoons. They're a modular program. They change every half term, and the children might choose archaeology and ancient history, painting in oils, modern civil rights, forensic science, history of art. What about studying a language because you want to be a good communicator? Not because you want to get a grade. Heaven forbid. What if that was the way we did learning for its own sake? So that 3 years program allows us to keep breadth in the curriculum, much more breadth in the curriculum than schools that essentially just reduce the GCSE years to studying GCSEs and nothing else.
That sounds amazing. You are also part of the Reigate Grammar School group of schools, which includes 3 prep schools, pre-prep, as well as your most recent member, the Royal Grammar School Surrey Hills, former Box Hill School, and a growing network of international schools. How does being part of this group benefit your whole school community?
That's right. So Reigate Grammar School and RGS Surrey Hills are 2 senior schools, and we work in partnership. And then the prep schools also work in partnership. We help each other. I suppose it helps children to be in a connected community. That's the world they're going to inherit. We also have Reigate Grammar School International. So we have a Reigate Grammar School in Riyadh, in Hanoi, in Kuala Lumpur, in Phnom Penh in Cambodia, one in China, one in Turkey about to open, one in Shanghai being built, one in Dubai being built, a partner school in South Africa. There's a whole global village. And we do that because we want the children to be international citizens in a global village. building bridges of understanding and smashing down walls of ignorance. Because today's children are more likely to work in Riyadh than they are in Reading. They might want to start their career in London and then move to Singapore. So we do an awful lot of work of connecting children across our UK family of schools, across our Reigate Grammar School International Global Village. So the children are safe in a bubble in Reigate in Surrey, and totally connected with the world, international citizens ready to take their place in a global village.
And your sixth form students achieve excellent results each year, with 94% of grades last year between A star and B, and 98% of children securing offers from world-class universities. How do you feel you prepare your students and support them to succeed in their university applications and in their time at university once they leave Reigate Grammar School?
Yeah, really important that we're setting them up for life beyond school. Well, it starts from when they first join us with careers lessons and university fairs, and we have seminars going on pretty much every week from either somebody in the workplace, perhaps an alumni or one of the parents of current students, or we have students who are currently at university, undergraduates who come back to their old school and have lunch with their favourite teacher and run a seminar on what it's like to study economics at Durham, or engineering at Imperial, or French at Cambridge, or sports science in Exeter or whatever. They come back and they share that. So right from the beginning of their school career, from year 7 up through the school, students here, we help them plot their pathway through university and onto the workplace, develop a real sense of entrepreneurship. I mentioned before how the partnership with Chelsea FC is partly about football and partly about understanding a global football business brand. The students here love the esports club, but we see esports not just about boys playing computer games, but actually we see it about boys and girls preparing for one of the fastest growing industries in the world, tech focused, fast to market, international, with really sort of strong media and creative opportunities for people in the future. We do lots of work experience and internships through our RGS Foundation, which is our team that connect our community globally and locally, our alumni and our current families. And then as they get into the sixth form, we do university visits and practice for exams and interview practice. Actually, the most important thing, never mind all of that, is that we have children here who want to do well, and they support each other to do better than they would have done if they weren't here. That's the simple truth. When your friends want to do well and want to go to world-class universities and want to achieve well in their life, when your friends want to do well, then you do better.
Very true. And finally, Shaun, obviously, as a school, you're doing incredibly well, and winning many awards. School of the Year, I think, last year, wasn't it? This year. What are your hopes and plans going forwards for the Reigate Grammar School itself, but also for the Reigate Grammar School group of schools?
Do you know what? Awards, nice to have. They affirm the community and league table positions. It's nice to be high, but none of that matters anywhere near as much as the daily experience of a child entrusted to our care. And I promise you, we do take that seriously. That's our guiding feature. There's one rule in the school, which is do what's right for the child. And over the years ahead, we will change. We'll become more understanding about the risks and opportunities of AI. We'll focus even more on metacognition and the best ways for students to learn, especially as they connect with more edtech. We'll always be focusing on well-being and pastoral care. We really want to help move to a time where neurodiversity isn't a label that attaches to some, but is an approach to understanding all of us, that we all want to have better self-awareness and self-understanding about how we learn and how we engage with the school. And so we want that pastoral care to be based on authentic self-understanding. We want to continue to invest in the facilities in the school. I suppose it boils down to where I started from. As a dad, I know that children get one main chance of an education, and we must get that right. We owe it to them to get it right so that they love learning about themselves and the world. They get lifetime friendships, they make lifelong memories, and they move on from school having had a happy and successful school career, ready to go on into the world and be happy and successful again, to make the world a better place, but also to be happy and successful, because that's the Reigate way.
Thank you so much for your time. I'd love to come in and see Reigate Grammar in action. And we look forward to a very exciting future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very nice to meet you too.